Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. You ready to explore some more thought-provoking content with me?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so today we're going to be looking at excerpts from a sermon that was delivered by Pastor J. Anthony Dargan, and it's called The Son Who Changes Everything. And what really grabbed me right away about this sermon was how Pastor Dargan uses a story to really bring his message to life. Have you ever noticed how like a good story can make even complex ideas just kind of click?
Absolutely. Stories, they have this way of like drawing us in and helping us connect on a deeper level. And in this sermon that we're looking at Pastor Dargan's story about the art auction, it's not just a clever hook to grab your attention.
Right.
It's a really powerful analogy for understanding the transformative power of faith.
Okay, so let's set the stage here.
Right.
The story centers around this wealthy widower who loses his son in Operation Desert Storm.
Yeah.
And the widower and his son, they were both passionate art collectors. They had built this incredible collection together over the years.
Wow.
And it's really clear from the story that their shared love of art was this really strong bond between them.
I can see that. And, you know, that bond that they had, it makes the son's death in the story even more tragic.
Right.
The story emphasizes how deeply the father loved his son.
Yeah.
You know, he treasured his memory even more than the priceless art that they had collected together. And I think this sets the stage for a really powerful exploration of grief and loss and ultimately the enduring nature of love.
Then there's this unexpected twist that happens. A young soldier shows up at the widower's door.
Okay.
And it turns out that he's the one that the son saved during that battle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he's come to express his gratitude.
That's amazing.
And he brings a gift. This simple portrait of the son that he couldn't save.
Wow.
I don't know about you, but that moment gave me chills.
It's a really poignant detail, and I think it speaks volumes about the themes of sacrifice and remembrance that run through this whole sermon.
Yeah.
The soldier's gift is a powerful symbol of the son's selfless act, a way of keeping his memory alive even though he's gone.
Right.
And it also kind of foreshadows the even greater sacrifice that Pastor Dargan connects it to later in the sermon.
So fast forward to the auction of the widower's estate.
Okay.
Everyone's buzzing about these famous masterpieces. You know, they're expecting Picassos and Raphaels.
Right, of course.
But the auctioneer, he starts with this seemingly ordinary portrait of the son.
Oh, interesting.
And the crowd's reaction is lukewarm at best.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They're clearly more interested in the big names. You know, the ones that are going to fetch a lot of money.
Yeah, that makes sense, I guess.
It made me wonder, why are they so focused on the monetary value? They're completely missing the deeper meaning behind this portrait.
That's a great question. And it's one that Pastor Dargan wants us to really grapple with. It's like the crowd is so fixated on the external value of the art that they're blind to the deeper, more profound value represented by the portrait of the son. And then the will is read, and there's this huge twist. Whoever buys the portrait inherits the entire estate.
Talk about an unexpected turn of events. It makes you realize that what seems insignificant can actually hold the key to something far greater.
Absolutely. And this is where Pastor Dargan brilliantly connects the story to his message about Jesus. Just as the gardener in the story receives everything by valuing the son, accepting Jesus grants us access to immeasurable spiritual riches.
It's such a clever way to illustrate this really complex concept.
Right.
He takes this familiar scenario of an inheritance and uses it to explain something as profound as God's love and the gift of Jesus.
I love that.
It really makes you think about what truly matters in life.
It highlights the unexpected nature of faith, too. Just like that crowd at the auction, we might be overlooking the true treasure right in front of us.
Totally.
You know, we might be so focused on the things of this world that we miss the profound gift of salvation offered through Jesus.
So the story sets the foundation, but then Pastor Dargan goes deeper.
Yeah.
He outlines 4 specific ways that Jesus changes everything. And he's drawing from Isaiah 9:6 to 7 here.
Okay.
And I was especially drawn to his first point, how Jesus changes how we see God.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
So how does he approach that? How does he say?
He emphasizes that Jesus reveals a God who is near and personal.
Okay.
Not distant and detached, as he sometimes seems in the Old Testament. It's a shift from trying to understand God through laws and prophets to experiencing God's love and mercy directly through a relationship with Jesus.
So we're not just reading about him.
Right.
We're encountering him in a personal way.
Exactly. And he even uses the example of how Jesus taught us to pray.
Oh, yeah.
Addressing God as our Father.
It's powerful.
It is. That simple phrase brings a sense of intimacy and closeness that's just so beautiful.
Absolutely. It makes you realize that we have access to a loving Father who cares deeply about us.
It's a stark contrast to the often more formal and even fearsome portrayal of God in the Old Testament.
For sure.
And through Jesus, we're invited to experience a relationship with God that's based on love, grace, and forgiveness.
It's a beautiful and comforting thought.
It really is. And it makes me wonder how this shift in perspective might change the way we approach our own faith journey.
That is a great question.
What if instead of focusing on all the rules and regulations, we prioritized cultivating a deeper, more personal relationship with God as our loving Father?
I love that. That's something I think we should all think about.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what about you? What's resonating with you so far from this deep dive?
Well, I think what strikes me is how Pastor Dargan doesn't just present this idea of a loving God like it's just a concept. He connects it to a tangible shift in how we actually live our lives. And that's his second point, how Jesus changes how we face all those curveballs that life throws our way.
It's interesting because he doesn't shy away from the reality of his challenges.
No, not at all.
In fact, he acknowledges that life could be really tough, full of worries and anxieties.
For sure.
But then he offers this incredibly hopeful message. We don't have to go through it alone.
Exactly. He emphasizes that Jesus has the authority and the power to carry our burdens for us. He uses this really vivid phrase from Isaiah, the government will be on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And it paints this picture of strength and dependability.
I love that image.
Yeah.
It makes me think of Jesus as this steady, unwavering presence in the middle of all the chaos.
He's got us no matter what.
It's like he's saying, come to me. I've got this.
Exactly. And it's not just about Jesus carrying those burdens for us.
Right.
It's also about how he changes our whole approach to them. Pastor Dargan connects this to the concept of grace, reminding us that through Jesus, we have the confidence to come directly to God to ask for help. To find mercy when we need it most.
He even quotes Hebrews 4.1 sec.
Oh, yeah.
Which extends that invitation to come boldly before God's throne.
It's like we're given this VIP pass to connect with the ultimate source of strength and comfort.
We don't have to prove ourselves worthy.
Not at all.
It's all about grace.
Exactly. And that grace, it empowers us to live differently.
How so?
Well, instead of being weighed down by worry and fear, we can approach challenges with a sense of hope and confidence, knowing that we have a powerful ally in Jesus.
It's a total game changer, isn't it?
It really is.
It's like putting on a new pair of glasses that allow you to see the world and your place in it in a whole new light.
I like that.
And speaking of seeing things in a new light,
Pastor
Dargan dives into those incredible titles that are given to Jesus in Isaiah 9.6-7.
Yes. Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God,
Prince of Peace.
Oh, yeah. Those really stood out to me, too. Which one resonated most with you?
Well, they're all so rich with meaning. But I think Prince of Peace really speaks to me in a profound way.
I can see why.
It's not just about the absence of conflict.
No.
But about a deeper sense of wholeness and well-being that comes from within.
Yes.
Regardless of what's happening around us.
It's a peace that the world can't give.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think that's what makes this sermon so powerful. It's not just about these abstract theological concepts.
Right.
It's about how these concepts translate into real, tangible changes in our lives.
I agree. Pastor Dargan doesn't just tell us what to believe. He shows us how those beliefs can transform the way we experience the world, how we deal with challenges, how we find peace in the midst of chaos.
He reminds us that we don't have to figure everything out on our own.
That's so important.
We have access to divine guidance through the wonderful Counselor, strength through the mighty God, unwavering love through the everlasting Father. And when life just feels completely overwhelming, we can turn to the Prince of Peace.
Yes.
That a sense of calm and grounding.
It's like having a personalized toolkit.
Yeah.
For all of life's challenges, each tool offering a unique form of support and empowerment.
And then he brings it all back to that art auction story, reminding us that the greatest inheritance of all is found in accepting Jesus.
Beautiful.
Just like the gardener who received everything by simply valuing the son's portrait.
Yeah.
We receive far more than we could ever imagine when we choose to value Jesus.
It's not about earthly possessions, you know. It's about inheriting eternal life and unbreakable connection with God.
It's a powerful reminder that our choices have eternal consequences. It's not about following a set of rules to earn our way to heaven.
No.
It's about recognizing the incredible gift that's been freely offered to us through Jesus and embracing it with our whole hearts.
And we experience life.
So as you go about your day today, I want to encourage you to keep exploring those portraits in your own life. What treasures might you be overlooking?
That's a great question.
What unexpected sources of joy and meaning are waiting to be discovered? And how might those discoveries lead you to a deeper understanding of just how powerful faith can be?
Keep diving deep, everyone.
And we'll see you next time for another thought-provoking exploration.
Thank you for making the Two Hosts, One Message podcast your go-to for exploring faith and spiritual growth. This week's inspiring message, The Son Who Changes Everything, preached by our pastor, Reverend J. Anthony Dargan, dives deep into the prophetic truths of Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6, shared on Sunday, December 22nd, 2024. New episodes drop every Tuesday. Subscribe now to stay encouraged and inspired on your spiritual journey. Want to go deeper? Join us for a live discussion about Sunday's sermon. It's a relaxed and meaningful conversation happening every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Dial 605-313-4831 and enter access code 869-360# to join. Feeling inspired to support our ministry? Your generosity helps us continue to share God's love. You can give through PayPal or Zelle, using CCOGNYC at AOL.com, CashApp using $CCOGNYC, or Givelify. Search Congregational Church of God, 1889 Amsterdam Avenue, New York, New York, 10032. Every gift, no matter the size, makes a difference. Join us in person. We'd love to welcome you to our Sunday service at 10 a.m. at Congregational Church of God, located on Amsterdam Avenue between West 153rd and 154th Streets. Not in the area? No problem. Watch live on YouTube at CCOGNYC or Facebook, Congregational Church of God NYC. I love my church. Come see why. We're all about spreading God's love through His Word. Thank you for being part of the Two Hosts, One Message family. We can't wait to connect with you online, in person, or wherever God's plan takes you. God bless.